This video explains your paper assignment number 1. You actually have 2 papers, but this one and actually the second one are very similar. There's only a couple little differences that I'll go over. So your goal here is to apply a concept from the reading and analyze a communication situation from your life. I call it a case. It's not really technically a case study, but you're looking at a situation, an instance from your life where the concept applies. So you'll pick one clear concept from the reading, and I might talk about it in the lecture videos as well, and apply it to some kind of relationship. It could be at work, could be in your family, could be with a friend or significant other, just about anything, and draw a concept from the reading that resonates with or speaks to that experience. It really draws it out. The point of the assignment is to use a concept from chapters either 4 or 5 to explain that situation. In your paper number 2, you're going to be going into some other chapters, namely 6, 7, and 8. You can pick from those chapters. In this first paper, though, just chapters 4 and 5, which means you might need to read a little ahead or look a little ahead to really get your full options, explore your full options. So here are the overview. 3 to 4 pages. That does not count your title page or your reference page. So 3 to 4 pages of actual writing. It should be, you should have a title page and a reference page. Clear, understandable sentences, must be proofread, virtually free from errors. Of course, I don't mind a little typo here and there, but it should be readable. I don't take off like a whole letter grade for typos. Lord knows I would lose credit on a lot of my work. 12-point font, even in the title. Type double-spaced. Actually, this is stapled, but since this is only online, you don't have to obviously staple it. APA style, and there's a sample paper that you can look at for the how to cite sources the right way in APA, and refer to that sample paper. I think it says papers here, but I'll probably just list one and look at that to get an idea of what I'm asking for. So here's a basic overview. You're going to have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. In your introduction, which is 1 paragraph, you have an opening that's 2 to 3 sentences that gets you into the flow of the topic, and then state the purpose. And I'm not going to read every single sentence here. I want you to read over this carefully. This is just an overview video. Then give your thesis statement. This is your claim, your description about what was happening in the case, in the situation in your life. It's not about what this theory means in general. You're not trying to prove anything. You're just trying to show what was happening in the situation below and use the vocabulary of the concept to explain that. So here, for example, this sample is saying, I argue that my family showed high levels of communication, but low levels of conformity in our discussion. That goes right into the concepts that are from that chapter on the relationship. So then you give a preview statement. Part 1 of the paper, there's 3 parts. Part 1 is where you define your concept from the book. You give good, clear definitions, explanations, a nice, well-rounded paragraph, just 1 paragraph there. Cite everything properly. Part 2 is where you explain your case, your situation. You're going to need probably 2 good paragraphs to do that because you're going to give lots of detail and vivid descriptions about what was going on. Probably the most common thing that papers that don't do well miss here is that first of all, they don't give enough detail, like actual moments from conversation, slow motion, frame by frame type analysis of what was going on. And then the other main thing they don't do is they don't pick apart the situation with the vocabulary of the concept. You want to cite the text again, tease apart what was happening in your case so that it's an analysis. It's not just a story, but it's an analysis of what was happening. Part 3 are recommendations. That's where you have 1 paragraph for each recommendation. That means you're going to have 2 to 3 recommendations total. 1 or 2 for you and 1 or 2 for the other person involved in the case or the other people involved in the case, and that gives you 1 paragraph each. Each of those you're going to cite a source from the book to support your idea, give some detail, and make sure you word this as advice for you and the other people in the case. Don't give general advice. That's the most common mistake people make. Instead of you should say first, I should have asked clarifying questions or whatever the advice is. Don't put this in the third person you. First, you should do this. It's not the advice isn't for me. You're looking back at the case situation and you're giving advice to you and the people in the case. The other thing people forget to do is cite a source from the book, cite your concepts again to support that. And you'll see that the sample paper does those things. And then you have your conclusion paragraph. So this whole thing is about 3 to 4 pages. Look over this document in detail. This is the same document. This is just an overview video, and really go step by step through it. Look at the sample paper before you sit down to write. It'll be much easier to do if you take those steps before you actually write. And make sure, of course, you do not write on the same topic as the sample paper. That would be really tempting to plagiarize and make it sound just like that, and I do not want you to write on the same topic as the paper.